What's up, fam? How y'all doing today? Welcome to another episode, live installment of the TSC Unleased. That's right, we in the building, man. Good to see the Black and Gold family members in the building and the family supporting the live stream. Thank y'all, man. Appreciate y'all. And hope y'all having a beautiful, man. I mean, absolutely gorgeous and beautiful Saturday. It's hot, but listen, man, it's beautiful. Get out and enjoy it, man, to the best of your ability. Make sure you guys stay hydrated and take the sports coma with you on this one, man. So I like to bring in our contributor on TSC Unleashed, my co-host and key contributor on the show, Uncle Mozzi. How you doing, fam?
Thinking, but I need my own music. I was thinking about possibly going with like maybe vintage Hulk Hogan, like either that or maybe Transformers the movie. You have power because I sure called that win last night with Clippers versus the Mavericks. And I'm awfully hungry right now. So I mean, whenever we can, huh? No, how did it go? You got the touch. You got the. That's me, right? No. Oh yes, we're
Hey,
here.
hey, let me tell
Dream
you.
team is here.
Let me tell you
Oh
something, man. This guy is the luckiest man on the face
yeah.
of the planet. Mozzie is the luckiest man on the planet, man. His Clipper Club,
Oh man, thank you so much.
Christoph Porzingis gets kicked out of the first matchup. Had he done that, the Mavericks take the first one. Mavericks came back, got a little redemption in game two. Third matchup, Luka Doncic goes down at the end of the third quarter. They lose by 8. So, I mean, it's what it is, man. A win's a win, and definitely congratulations, Mozzie. I definitely owe you that shrimp pull, boy, my brother. So I'm going to have to settle up with you
If
on
it
that one.
was a fifth, you could complete the rest. If it was a fifth, we'd all be drunk. This is what I try to tell you, man. Like I don't make this up. This is what I try to tell you and brother Kev. Shout out to
Oh,
my brother Kev.
is this the bragging aspect of the braggadociousness
Oh,
after
you already know what time it was because all y'all doubted me. Y'all all think I be out here just talking crazy, and I'm just no. This is what I be telling y'all, man. Look, I'm telling you, hey, man, I got an inside track, man. So I'm like the Bernie Madoff of like sports. I got like insider trading secrets and all. Man, of course, man. The writing was on the wall, man. We knew the Clippers hadn't played that game yet, and last night, despite what the final score was, because I mean everybody got pulled. I don't know, the 8 minute mark of the fourth quarter, 7 minute mark of the fourth quarter. They started pulling starters, so it's pretty trash time the last 6, 7, 8 minutes of that game. So that 8 point margin of victory should have probably been closer to 14, 15, which would have been a
Mm-hmm.
blowout.
Yeah.
And even still, some of the people like, oh, I mean, Luca was going. Luca could have put up 15, 16 points. It doesn't work that way. Like one guy is not just gonna come out and have like 16, 17 points to make up for whatever the deficiencies were. There were deficiencies because the Clippers made or created those deficiencies. That's what it was. I mean, Dallas has got a real good shot at winning this game, providing Luca isn't the injury to Luca isn't that serious as we all hope and pray it isn't. But I mean, come on now, we all knew what time that. At least I knew what time that was. I know probably you and brother Kev and a couple of the other guys that always on me. Y'all probably thought, man, here you go again. But no, man, I kind of knew this already. They call me the Swami, right? I got a crystal ball. I don't have a computer that I look into.
Okay, so you kind of taking Chris Berman thing as he stepped away. Now you the Swami. Yeah, that's what you gonna claim
Yeah,
right here.
yeah. That's what it is. He fumbling, fumbling, tumbling. I already knew what time this was, bro. Like,
Big ups to JT and Dr. Key joining us here on the live stream as well as the rest of the family. Thank y'all for supporting TSC Unleashed. Well, we talk about this topic, and most of the shows we cover be about the NBA playoffs, or the NFL news, boxing news. We'll cover it within the summation of a 1 hour program. TSC Unleashed is in the building. Please subscribe if you aren't a subscriber. Please share the link to help the show grow along. And of course, programming note: TSC Saints Camp Day 5 will be later on today. Please hit the reminder on the notification to not miss tonight's show, as we'll cover all. We'll have several interviews. We'll open the phone lines up for people to dial in to give their thoughts and concerns as well on the Saints. And, just remember that we'll be hitting at you tonight. So without further ado, let's get into this edition of TSC Unleashed NBA Playoffs, called Leonard and the Clips take one from a hurt Luka and the Dallas Mavericks. Now let's get into this one. 130 to 122 in the matchup. Everybody, like we talked about, Mozzi hit at it the door. Luka Dallas struggled in this game, 29 minutes, 4-14 from downtown, 1 of 6 from the field, 4 of 10 from the free throw line. He finished with 13 points, man, 10 assists and 10 rebounds, a triple-double, but in a losing effort. And plus, he kind of twisted his ankle right there. We're still waiting to see how that's going to turn out. 34 points from Kristaps Porzingis. He balled in this one. 34 points, 13 rebounds in 38 minutes, 11 of 18 from the field, 5 of 9 from downtown. Kristaps Porzingis, the unicorn. He was on fire with this one. Tim Hardaway Jr., them juniors, man, you got to watch out for him. 22 points in the matchup today in 38 minutes, 9 of 19 from the field, 4 of 10 from downtown. And Seth Curry, not Steph, but Seth Curry, the only Curry in the playoffs, 22 points off the bench, 9 of 11 shooting in 31 minutes, 10 from Trey Burke. In a losing effort, they couldn't do it. Big credit to the Clippers. They came in here, took care of business behind the play of who else but Kawhi Leonard. He did what he was supposed to be. 36 points, 8 assists, 9 rebounds, a full game from him in 39 minutes, 13 of 24 from the field. Struggled a bit from the three-point line, 1 of 4, 9 of 10 from the free throw line. In this one, Paul George, 11 points, continued to struggle, but never mind that because Leonard had his back. 15 points from Zubac, 14 from Morris, 13 off the bench from Harrell, 10 off the bench from Lou Williams, who kind of settled down in this one as well. They take it 130 to 122. You heard what Uncle Mozzi said about this one. We don't need to really kind of stick and stay with this one. He won him a full sandwich, a shrimp sandwich, and with the seasoned fries and a pineapple red shot from your boy. I mean, a big shot from your boy today. So we gotta give it to Mozzi. That's my mouth watering. All right, let's move. Y'all don't know this man ain't gonna never let me let that one down. All right, let's move on to the next one. We're gonna talk about.
You had a chance.
I still got a chance. I shall be back. All right, let's move to the next one. Yeah. Boston and Philly, man. What the hell is going on? Boston, man, they made it a 3-0 series with a 102-94 victory over the Sixers. What's going on? Well, I'll tell you what's going on. 24 points from Kemba Walker in this one. He had 24 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 35 minutes, 10 of 20 from the field, 3 of 8 from downtown, 24 to lead his team, 21 from Brown in the matchup, 21 and 7 in 42 minutes, 6 of 16 from the field, 1 of 5 from downtown, struggled a bit, 8 of 9 from the free throw line. But despite that, Tatum threw in 15 and a pretty pedestrian 15, but you don't have to score 30 every night. His boys got his back. 14 from Marcus Smart, as this team was able to take care of the Philadelphia Sixers, who continue to struggle. Al Horford, once again, 6 points. Al Horford made way too much money to only contribute 6 points. He had 6 points in this game, 10 rebounds in 38 minutes. That's absolutely insane. Al, you got to get going. Joel Embiid had another 30-point affair, 30 points, 13 rebounds in the game in 35 minutes, 7 of 20 from the field, 2 of 5 from downtown. The man was 14 of 16 from the free throw line, 17 apiece from Jay Rich and Milton at the backcourt. But once again, you look at Tobias Harris. Tobias Harris making big dough. 39 minutes, 6 of 19 from the field. This man was all 5 from downtown. 15 points, 15 rebounds. You got to give him a hustle. 15 is pretty difficult for anybody to do. But Al Horford, man, 6 points. That you cannot do that. They go down 102-94. Mozzi, what the hell's up, man? Boston's up 3 games to none. They break out the brooms. We called this series. Go for it.
No, well, first of all, let me give me a second. Let me get something to wipe my hands. All these shrimp falling everywhere. I can't. They falling everywhere. They all on the ground everywhere. So, listen, man. We already knew what this was, right? We've gone over this several dozen times. The Philadelphia 76ers are a team that had, much like the New York Knicks, they have several really good pieces that kind of all play the same exact position, if that makes sense to you. Is Simmons being out affecting their gameplay? Obviously it is. But I mean, the writing was on the wall when this series first started. You have no shooters. You've got a rebounder. You guys can play, really big, but Boston is more of a finesse team. They're top to bottom. This team, again, Horford above the rim, got to kind of He can get some trash points, but can't really handle the ball, himself. Not like some of the other prominent bigs like AD and Zion. But so I mean, he can't handle the ball. He's got a decent shot, not too much from long range. And B, that's dead. Can't handle the ball, can't shoot from long range. Can't really shoot anything beyond 8 feet, to be honest. Same exact situation with oh God, what's his Ben Simmons, with the exception of he can handle the ball. Shot is still not there. Defense is definitely not there. So I mean, this is what happens when you have a defenseless, shootless, worthless team. I mean,
Worthless
I hate to say that, but yeah, I mean, think about it. This 2020, the 2020 NBA game is not based on the Allen Iverson, Michael Jordan, Vince Carter, Tracy McGrady. I'm gonna take you off the dribble, get a quick step, take it to the cup, dish it off to my guy inside. Kobe, Shaq. We're gonna work inside to out. This is not that NBA. This NBA is a bunch of 20-something-year-olds that all seem to run like 4.3 40s. They get out like gazelles and they shoot it from the logo. That's what the 2020 NBA is. Philadelphia is not built and or equipped to keep up with the team that's on. And at this moment, Boston is on. And they were my dark horse team coming out of the East. I got it on tape. We got it on film. So I am the swami, as we could all attest to last night. So I've always looked for Boston to do big things. This is no secret to me. Now maybe the brother Kev and a couple of other family members who are always on me, maybe it's a secret to them. But to me, I always knew Boston was going to do this. I mean, they're green. I mean, that's the luck of the Irish. Isn't that right? So, I mean, come on now. I mean, Boston is going to easily sweep these people. I think they took their souls last night. You saw it in Embiid's face. Saw it pounding the floor, kind of getting beside himself. We clearly see the writings on the wall. We didn't see it when the series first started Monday. We definitely see it on today, Saturday. So tomorrow we'll be waving bye-bye. And I just sent my son to a Family Dollar because I saw him coming off the truck. You had to see these cute. They had these big old iron metal like 10 dustpans with a big old hole in the back. Like 2 people got a hold of this big dustpan. And we're gonna be able to sweep them in there. We're gonna be able to sweep a couple other guys up in there, OKC, and we can dump them all out with the trash. Trash pass on Monday. So we got to wrap all this up tomorrow. We can be on the curb come Monday morning.
I can tell you, it's a lot of garbage they gonna throw out, man. That poor trash man gonna be cussing a blue streak, man. That's all I got to say about it. But yeah, that's interesting, man. It's interesting nonetheless. So we talked about this prior show. When the questions came about what happens if Philadelphia gets swept. Even though they won 43 games this season, you cannot get swept with Joel Embiid. Even though you're missing Ben Simmons, you still have Al Horford, who had deep playoff runs with Boston, Tobias Harris, who's still a baller. If you got those guys on your team and they're both healthy, you can't be swept. And Brett Brown definitely is going to be one of those coaches that end up getting fired and thrown away. So that's too bad for the Sixers. So maybe perhaps they can kind of fight the ways and steal one of them. We'll see. But this season definitely over for them in my book. Let's move on to the next matchup. The Toronto Raptors, 117-92, another dispatchment of the Brooklyn Nets. We know the Nets is probably the weakest. They are the weakest team in the East, in my opinion. Once again, they show what time it is. Pascal Siakam, 26 points in the matchup, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, 11 of 23 from the field, 2 of 6 from downtown. 33 minutes, he was balling in this one. Fred VanVleet, 22 points, 5 assists, 5 rebounds, 8 of 13 from the field, 6 of 10 from downtown. VanVleet continues the ball in this one. Leonard, he fell off the cliff, 11 points, but he did have 10 rebounds and 7 assists in the matchup. 4 turnovers, not too good. But VanVleet is definitely the future of this team. And I'm saying probably sometimes next year, look for Kyle Lowry to probably get shipped somewhere or take a significant reduction in pay because it's no longer his ball club. Just keeping it real with you. 20 off the bench from Serge Ibaka. 20 points, 13 boards for him. 11 from Powell, 9 from Davis, as they went right past the Brooklyn Nets, who really didn't have much of a chance. Johnson finished with 23 points in the matchup, 15 from Karis LeVert, 14 off the bench from Chiozza, and what can I tell you? 117-92 Brooklyn Nets, 5 go for it.
Hey man, Brooklyn is ready for it. They were really listen, and I understand they are the weakest team in the East, and I know everybody they're the laughing stock, as well they should be at this point. But one thing nobody seems to be like understanding or feeling, right? And this is the crazy part, for this team to be so dismantled, so disemboweled, disenfranchised, distant, whatever you want to put, that's what this team is. And with all of that, guess what? They still made it to the playoffs. No KD, right? No Kyrie, and they still made it. They still managed to make it to the playoffs. Although the Nets may be the laughing stock at this point, boy, you better watch out, because next year, I'm telling you, this team will be a force to be reckoned with out the East. And those two young killers that they have on their team, both of them right around 30 years old or so, man, it's going to be a very, very long and interesting ride coming out the East with the Nets. So we can look at what this is. This is nothing more than a game, a series that they could hold their heads up, be prideful of the fact that they could have been the Washington Wizards on the outside looking in with their star players down, Corona, shortened season. They still didn't quit. They still fought. They fought better than our hometown Pelicans fought, with the number one overall pick and all kind of hope and won't bow down and all of this other stuff. The lowly
They sure bow down.
Nets, the lowly New Jersey Nets. Yeah, they sure bow down. Shit, they'll be like Cinderella. But I'm proud of what that team was able to accomplish. I got a friend of mine, man, Boob. He lives he's out of New York, out of Flatbush. He loves the Nets, and I often call and jab with him. I was doing it throughout the season. Well, needless to say, he hit me up about a week ago and gave me the business about Zion and the Pelicans. So, in the conversation we had, I thought about it. I said, man, you know what? That's pretty interesting. A team that's down two prolific superstars like Kyrie and KD still managed to make it to the playoffs. So what I see with that is Kyrie and KD together, just those two pieces on any NBA team, in my opinion, is good for 15 to 20 wins. So if you take whatever their win total was this year, add another 20 for next year, and this is going to be a Brooklyn Nets team, man. Hey, man, I'm telling you, this is going to be a team that's going to break a lot of hearts and upset a lot of people, because it seems to me that nobody in the East really wants it. Milwaukee doesn't really want it. Toronto kind of wants it, but I mean, we don't really take them serious. You got Serge coming up for a contract extension. We don't really know what they're gonna do with Lowry. So hey, man, Boston and the Nets are gonna really be able to work and cement this division and put their claws into the craw of this division moving forward for the next 5 to 7 years. That's what I see from this team. So that's what I take away from the game and the series. They're just trying to make it to next season. Next season, gonna be a totally different ball of wax, and Pandora's box will officially be open, baby.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you. Brooklyn, really, this year is nothing to really talk about. Really coming up for this team is obviously, this is a futuristic move. I agree with you totally on that. Durant, Irvin, Jordan, those guys, the big wigs, they're all out. This is a different series altogether, and more competitive series if those big wigs are playing. But rehab and getting healthy for both men is crucial. When the season starts, those guys will be ready to give it another whirlwind. So, yeah, the Nets have a lot to think about. Now, going into the next playoff game here, the Utah Jazz separating themselves here in the series as they won this one big, 124-87 over the Denver Nuggets. They took it from them big in this one. And they handled business. I got to give credit what credit due. Utah, Quinn Snyder is an excellent coach. And you can see Malone, who's the coach of the Denver Nuggets, really challenging the heart of his team, saying that they got to play with more heart here. And you see what happened. Looking at the statistics, 27 points for Conley. And Conley is a big piece of this puzzle. He really is, because his ball guidance allows Donovan Mitchell to play at that off guard position. And Conley's a fantastic player defensively and distributing the ball. He finished with 27 points in this game in 25 minutes, 9 of 13 from the field. He was almost perfect from downtown, 7 of 8 at the three-point line. Really great numbers for him, and no turnovers. Conley's his ball when he's healthy, he's one of the game's best. 27 points and then of course 24 points from Robert Gobert. 14. Now this is what kind of game I like from Gobert. If he can give you 20 and 10 or 20 and 12 or 20 and 14, they're going to be tough to beat. He had 24 points, 14 rebounds in 32 minutes. He was 11 to 15 from the field, and he played really good. Also, Donovan Mitchell, 28 minutes, 5 of 13, 2 of 6 from downtown, 8 of 9 from the free throw line. He had 20 points, 16 off the bench from Niang, and 11 from Clarkson in the matchup as they were able to take down Denver, whose top scorer. And the matchup was, I think, 15 points, yes, from Jokic. He finished with 15 and 6 assists and 5 rebounds in 32 minutes. They couldn't get going. Once again, Jamal Murray, 27 minutes. He struggled awfully. 5 of 16 from the field, 2 of 8 from downtown, 12.6 assists. He was a 9-factor as Utah has separation. They're up 2-1 against Denver. What are your thoughts, Mozzi?
Well, I mean, I already picked Denver to be my opponent in West Conference Finals, facing off against the LA Lakers. So I'm still going for Denver, me myself. I think Denver plays a much more team-oriented game. The advent of Utah coming into play, Conley coming back. How could Conley and Spider get along, play together? Not get along, I should say. It's a bad choice of words, but how well can they play together is the question. Again, you run into that same scenario or synopsis that you have out in Philadelphia, and the same scenario that you have out a couple other teams. You know, you got a group of players that all play the same game the same way. It's tough. The reason why these perennial powerhouses are successful is because everybody has a different role. Whether you take the Chicago Bulls of the 90s, whether you take the LA Lakers of the 2000s, whether you take the Golden State Warriors and or Cleveland Cavaliers of the 2010s, everybody has a different role that they play when you actually break it down and look at the brass tacks of it. So I don't see that from this team. You got two guys that play the same thing. I mean, you do have Rudy Gobert, but he's streaky, kind of off and on type guy. And I think our bigs nullify Rudy Gobert's offensive production. And I think we just play better team ball. I think we're better coached. I just think everything about the Denver Nuggets is better than the Utah Jazz. However, with that being said, if you overlook these people or don't take these people as serious as you should, they will surely bite you. That snake will surely bite you, and you will surely die and get infected and die and, you know, everything else. So it's something to watch out for. If they do not pay attention to this team, or that they happen to take this team for granted, then yeah, they'll be at home with us watching TV with me, Zion, MB. We all got one big sofa, and you know they could just pull up right on the sofa and just catch it with us. You know, if they don't, you know, pull their act together and play like they should, just eliminate this team and get them out the way.
Utah serious, man. They're gonna go for the kill and try to close out the series and gain some separation. Denver got to get serious, man, and tie it up, and we'll see how it goes. Moving on to today's matchup, the first game of the day is 7 minutes, little over 7 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter of the Bucks versus Magic matchup that's going on right now. 104-89 Bucks are in control, looking to close it out and extend up 2 straight against the Magic. And a lot of people, including myself, said that loss was a slap in the face. Coach Buttenholder got these guys together and were able to say, you know what, we need to close this team out, shut them down. It pissed them off. Right now, you're looking at Giannis. He has 31 points, 9 rebounds, and 6 assists right now, and there's still 6 minutes remaining in this contest. So he's up big. You look at Vujacic for them. He has 20, 21 from DJ Augustin. Ross has 17 in the matchup. They're trying to make a push of it in the fourth quarter, and they need to, if they're going to have a chance, try to sneak another win, which it won't. I still say the Bucks reel off 4 straight and knock this team out of the playoffs. What do you think about that, Uncle Mozzi?
I mean, I have no reason to disagree with that, Richard. I seem to agree with you, Richard. I mean, it's just the Bucks are just way too much. Orlando is just understaffed. And again, they play phenomenal defense, but they're going to definitely have to figure out, and it's not going to be much. If Orlando were to land one high performance, high volume offensive guy, i.e. Westbrook, i.e. anybody out there that's available that's strictly focusing on the offensive side of the ball, I think Orlando would be in that mix of teams out the East that could kind of run with it and be in a pack of dominance over the next 5 to 7 years because they're really only one piece away. But at this current moment, Giannis is just too much. Giannis is just too much. But to everybody's relief and to some people's dismay, me being one of them because I'm a Hornets fan and Pelicans fan, and they're in the West. I definitely think that at the end of the season, if Milwaukee were to lose, or if Milwaukee not lose, I think that the Greek Freak will be checking out in Milwaukee, and that'll kind of open up the playbook for everybody because they won't have to kind of get around him. Toronto is kind of phasing out, so the East will go back to its traditional roots of being over the last 20 years anyway, of being a repulsive conference that no winners really come out of. I think LeBron and some the Boston team when they had that deep run a couple years ago, I think they kind of changed it around or gave the East hope, but I think they'll be slapped back into place. As far as Orlando right now, it's just way too much Milwaukee. They're about another year or two away, but again, this is something they could build off because they too could have been the Washington Wizards, in which case they'd be home watching it with me or MB and a couple other goofy people that'll be sitting on the sofa with us, after Sunday. Gentry for sure. Gentry's actually going out and get pizza. He'll be back in a minute. And we're going to all watch TV on the sofa. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I agree with you. I think this series is it's going to be definitely, I think Giannis is playing inspired, man, and it's only a matter of time before they close them out and push them ahead. Let's move on to the next series here. We got 3 more left to go. The Pacers and the Heat. Right. Of course, the Heat are leading the series 2-0, and this one is the next matchup, the 2:30 game Central Time. It's been a close matchup, but we talked about Spoelstra being one of those good coaches that nobody really seems to respect. He's a guy that always gets these deep playoff runs, and he's looking for a little separation. A 3-0 lead on the Pacers. What you think?
I mean, same thing that I always think. When you have a team like Miami, and you coach, Miami and Indiana for that matter, that's really so evenly matched from a talent perspective, it all boils down to a veteran leadership in general, but especially veteran leadership. You can't coach that, you can't buy that, you can't draft that. And when you look at Eric Spoelstra, you look at the two people who lead the charge for Miami, Eric Spoelstra, and you're looking at Jimmy Butler. The experience of those two people combined, the leadership that they bring, both on the sideline and on the court, Indiana just simply doesn't have that. They're kind of a team of rejects, other people's trash, didn't really get any recognition when they first came into the league. They went to a situation where they were the best in that certain situation, playing in the East. Kind of a perfect storm of things that even got them on the radar. But I think there's just no match for the veteran leadership and the coaching that Spoelstra and Butler bring to that series that Indiana just won't be able to kind of circumvent or get around, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's going to be tough, man. But Nate McMillan's a hell of a coach up there. The Heat, Spoelstra's got the heat on the Pacers. He's putting the heat on them, and we'll see if they can respond to it. This is going to be a really chippy battle between the two. Pacers know they need to empty the cupboards, right? They need to go all out here because if Heat goes up on them 3-0, it sees this series over with. Let's go on to the Thunder matchup. 5 o'clock Central game is the Thunder and the Rockets. We thought this series would be a little bit more competitive. The Rockets, however, without Westbrook, have been able to take this series lead 2-0. The Thunder, can they respond to at least make it a series again? We'll see. Donovan, I like Billy. I think Donovan's an excellent head coach there. Is he good enough to steal out a win from up under the Houston Rockets? What you think about that, Mozzi?
No, I don't. I think Houston's taking his soul.
You think they're sweeping them?
I think that.
You think they'll sweep them?
Oh yeah, it's gonna definitely be a sweep. It's gonna definitely be a sweep job. Again, we're not playing in traditional settings, so like it comes down to purely, strictly leadership and talent. This is kind of the easiest set of games, right? In one aspect to judge, and not so easy in other aspects. And I'll explain. Easy meaning that, okay, the things that some teams rely on, fan support, home court, knowing my arena, knowing my goal, know my baskets rather. Uh, uh, Everything about that just screams comfort. It's like okay. For instance, last weekend I went out to Mississippi, stayed at a hotel, awful night's sleep, great hotel, awful night's sleep. I went back to my rinkety dink bed that I've had for the last decade. I slept like a baby. Home court means something, especially when your talent is not at the level of the opponent you're playing. If you're under talent, undermanned, then you got to rely on things like you got to rely on streaky things like home court advantage, fan support, an injury to another player, somebody playing in foul trouble. These are the things that you relegate yourself to when you don't have the talent to match your opposition. However, we don't have those things. There is no home court advantage. There is no kind of certain way I like to fold the pillow at home. You're sleeping in a hotel, my friend, and you have been for the last 4, 5, 6 weeks, and that begins to kind of put a strain on people, and especially again when you don't have the talent of the opposition you're playing against. It's almost like you're a target, and it's like what they call that, ducks in a barrel, ducks in a pond, where you just sit there and you just constantly shoot them, but there's so many of them, you're gonna hit them. Okay, this is the same scenario. There's nothing different about that scenario versus this scenario, if that makes sense to you.
Hmm.
So you got to kind of just strap in and hang on for the ride. But undoubtedly, Houston is fixed in their mind. And you got to remember, this is all without Westbrook. So you've allowed a killer, a sleeping killer. You've awakened them. You've woken them up, much like Orlando did Milwaukee. You've given them an extra layer of confidence because OKC, you came in as the sixth seed, fifth seed, something like that. So when you come in with those kind of expectations, and what I mean when I say expectations, you have expectations to at least, if not come out of the first round, to at least put up a good fight and let people know you were there. I mean, those 4 or 5 matchups, generally speaking, they go down to 6, 7 games. This won't be that. And you got to kind of figure out why that is. And I mean, again, we're just playing under different situations. And all you got out there for veteran leadership on that court is Chris Paul, right? Chris Paul is probably, if I know Chris Paul, he's probably playing a pretty vindictive series because he felt he got ousted. And that's going to kind of hinder from his game because he's one of those free-spirited guys that he's kind of fun-loving, and but I mean, he's got to have a certain taste in his mouth, I would guess anyway, about kind of being kicked off and replaced by Westbrook. So it's kind of a swap out, if that makes sense. So I'm sure going into this series, he felt he had something to prove, and he had to prove to not only himself but to the Houston Rockets, hey, I'm not worthless. I'm still worthy to play this game. I am still CP3, which we all know he's not the same CP3 he was a decade ago. But he doesn't feel that way. Now he's overplayed himself. There's no other talent to back him up. And I think without Westbrook still being able to do what they've done this team, I think they've officially snatched the soul out of the dead carcass known as the Oklahoma City Thunder.
All right, let's move to the final matchup tonight. We have the Lakers and the Trailblazers. Now, season series evened off with an impressive win. LeBron and the Lakers were able to take it to the Trailblazers, whose backcourt was absolutely horrible in this matchup. But to compound the difficulty of the upcoming match with the Lakers, Lillard dislocated his finger. They said the tests were negative. So he will play with a splint on his finger. And when asked about it, he said that it was sore to the touch and a bit uncomfortable. So we'll see. That definitely has got to have some impact on him. McCullough and the rest of those guys are going to have to step up and carry the day, because with that being said, LeBron James them and Anthony Davis them are looking to push past him. What do you think about this matchup?
I mean, if Dame comes out and he's healthy, it may be a little bit of a game. Here's the thing, though. LeBron can't have the game he had the other night. That's not going to work. He comes in and have another 10-point performance. Portland's playing. I mean, Portland's a streaky team. Again, just like I finished telling you with OKC and these other teams, they play due to other outside factors. They don't come in and say, well, look, I'm Portland, I'm dominant, I'm good. And this is why I'm a little shaky on them, and I haven't been sold on them because they're the guy that takes an excessive amount of abuse before he decides to punch the bully back. That's the Portland Trailblazers. So when a candle is lit under their proverbial behind, that's when they decide they want to play. I think that a candle may have been set with AD going off like he did, but people tend to overthink things, and I don't think that we should count Portland out. I think they have been riding an incredibly emotional high for the better part of a week and a half, 2 weeks, and what goes up inevitably has to come down. Just like I said in the other broadcast. So Portland losing wasn't like a telltale sign that the ride is over and the thrill is gone. That's not what that was. What that was more than anything was Portland just being exhausted and the realization of the pace they had been playing had finally caught up with them, and they just had a bad off game. So did LeBron. However, they've so deep and got so many other people and components to their game. You didn't even realize LeBron only had 10 points, and they still had a blowout win. So that just goes to show you when you are deep and you have a talent level that's really, really broad, and people could do all different things like we discussed with the 76ers and a couple other teams. It doesn't matter. If I don't get production out of LeBron, the whole team doesn't go down. Whereas in the case of the Portland Trailblazers, if Lillard doesn't hit 35, you can wrap that up. It's over with. And that's my thoughts and take. That's my take on it.
Well, I mean, it's not just Lillard. McCullough has to bring it consistently every night, and Carmelo Anthony, who is an unsung major part of what they're doing, has to have more than 2 points like he did in game number 2. I mean, come on now. McCullough, he struggled a bit. Lillard struggled, and when all three of those guys can't struggle, they got to step up and they got to play better than what they played. The bench has to play better as well. They're an 8 seed, but they're taking on, with many pickers, the West is the Western Conference representative in the NBA Finals. So we'll see how it shakes, in my opinion. Carmelo Anthony, let's see what kind of game he brings after having that ridiculous 2 points. See what McCullough can do in the bench for Portland. Terry Stotts is going to have these guys motivated to play. They won't come in here and lay down to the Lakers. Wouldn't be surprised if they eke out a win of the Lakers tonight. So we'll see how it works, man, in tonight's matchup. But I still think that the Portland Trailblazers, despite the fact that we have Lillard, who's ailing, I still say the vital parts of it outside of him is McCullough and Carmelo, those guys, and Nurkic. You can throw him in there too, and the bench, just like Garrett Trent Jr. and the rest of those guys, they got to bring it, man. They definitely got to bring it. So.
Yep. I agree.
So that'll be it for the show today. I appreciate all y'all for joining us on TSC Unleashed. Big ups to the family members. Big ups to the family supporting the stream. Big ups to Dr. Key, JT, Abraham, Joe Gidry, GM Kev, and the rest of the families. GM Kev says Portland got a nice little guard on their bench. Give them some PT. He talking about Gary, Trent, Jr. Got to watch out for them juniors, man. Especially them Gary juniors. They some bad boys, man. Got several of them running around here. So thank you for joining us here. I got to send Mozzie his money so he could eat his po' boys and everything, because he called the Clipper Maverick matchup in his favor. He's so lucky. But anyway, that'll do it for TSC Unleashed on this episode. We'll be back tomorrow, Sunday, with more breakdown on the latest NBA games that happen and some more previews. So I appreciate you guys for joining us. Please subscribe. If you aren't a subscriber, please share the show on your social media. It helps us out a lot. And also hit the like button as well. Program note: TSC Saints Camp Day 5 will be later on today, so hit the reminder for that so you don't miss the show. We'll cover all that, interviews, we'll give some breakdown in an animated and passionate fashion as we always do. And then, of course, we'll open the phone lines up for calls. All that tonight on the TSC Saturday Saints Talk, baby. So I thank y'all for joining us. From me and Five, appreciate y'all for joining us. Peace.